guess we can start. And welcome again, and thanks for joining. And I'm really excited because of the fact that refund is quite important, and that's the epicenter of your churn and the whole product in general. And but what I see, no, not most developers tend to overlook refunds, and this metric is often ignored, and until something incredible happened with that. So we think it is a mistake. And today webinars is all about changing that mindset, at least for a few of you. But I think you already changed that because of you are here and want to know more about refunds. And from our perspective, refunds, it is not just about saving your money. It is keeping your money you already earned. And more importantly, refunds is a window into your product health. That's really important to know your refund, not only to keep money and save that, but that is more important to understand what's going on with your product. And so a few more words about why refunds is important, and we will jump to more interesting aspects of that, actions, benchmarks, etc. And so, as I mentioned it, a lot of developers overtook that, and thinking about refunds like that's support metrics. But a refund is not isolated metrics. It is a part of your customer lifecycle. And when a user asks for a refund, it is just a signal for you, isn't it? But that is the last signal user can make using your app. Before making a refund, there are a lot of other triggers, and especially cancellation rates. So most of you focusing on improving cancellation rates, churns, trial to cancel rate, reducing that. But refunds, that's the final signal customer can make. So as I mentioned before, refund rate is just epicenter of your churn. And if you tackle on that, if you try to understand their cases and proactively work with refund, you can not only improve refund rates and keep money in the house, but moreover, you can improve customer satisfaction and reduce cancellation rate that directly or indirectly will affect your cancellation rates. So most of your customers can just cancel subscription and leave. Some of them, sure, they will request refund, and working with refunds, you will also reflect and affect your cancellation rates. So based on these few facts about that, and here's a short overview about things I said. It is product health indicator for you, and based on benchmark on your refund rate, you can understand how it's going for your product, and you lose revenue, and it is really cost you more than you think. If you just lose, just say $1,000, that's cost you more because you paid for acquisition maybe 3 times more, and based on your unit economy, it could be different amount of money. So it's better to work on keeping it money inside. And so today's webinar includes 3 parts: understanding refunds, the reason behind refunds, benchmarks, and industry standards. Actually, we used to analyze around 1 billion tracked revenue per year, and for this particular webinar, we aggregated some data for refunds and prepared benchmarks and standards, so you can compare your refunds rate with that benchmarks and action plan. Some action points we'll describe in the first section, but some of them at the end of this webinar. Let's get started. And what drives the refunds? That's the most valuable question. And when we think about that, I will go so far, but just think about yourself. When you last time ordered something on Amazon or somewhere else on eBay, and maybe you ordered and requested a refund or questioned that, why you did that? So when I think about myself personally, there are emotional triggers and technical issues with product. So that is actually actual for mobile apps as well. Nothing different. So all issues and all reasons divided into two large groups. That's emotional triggers and technical issues. Sure, and this grouping is somewhat simplified, and in reality, the reason behind a refund is often more complex, and this part is somehow integrated into each other. Yeah, there are technical issue, and that's trigger emotion into the customer, and customer make a refund. But to understand and to describe action items, we are going to divide them into two groups, and based on these groups we'll go to prepare action items for us. So there is, as I mentioned, emotional triggers and technical issues. So someone just made impulsive purchase. That's quite actual for acquisitions from Instagram, TikTok, or just you scrolled your ad and just decided to try it and made a purchase. That's impulsive purchase. The next day he considered that no more need that and just refund it. Mismatched expectations. So quite the product didn't align with what the user thought they were getting, either due to unclear messaging or misleading visuals or some lack of product inside the app or something else. Or they can be also buyer's remorse, a classic human reaction. We make a decision and then doubt creeps in. Do I really need it? Or maybe I made a mistake and I can refund that. All these aspects, we really can work with all these aspects. And let me say a few words about technical issues. That's more related to things we do usually day by day. So we build apps and we build bugs. Yeah, that's the thing. Actually, there is no way to build something without bugs at all. So, but depending on the amount of apps crash you have or bugs you have, that can directly affect refund rate. There could be onboarding confusion or some incapability inside the app with the features you provide. Let's say you use less technology as Apple provide, but some way it click for a customer, and that's not the best user experience you can provide for customers. So try to manage that as well. And what you can do with all these things. So the golden rule here is you dividing these these reasons into two aspects, two groups. You can control that, and you can keep user with you, but you don't leave the user alone. So the emotional aspects of refunds happened only in the situation when user can think about and try to consider what to do next. But if you do not leave the user alone during this journey, and you can go through this experience with the user, it actually emotional triggers actually take a few days to make refunds. So most refunds happen just after a few days, if that happens because of impulsive purchase, mismatch expectation, and so on. So during this period, you need to communicate with users as much as you can. So we actually had a large webinar and a few weeks ago describing the way how you can communicate with customer. Yeah, you can do that with push notification, with internal onboardings, external onboardings, email communications, and so many things, so many ways you can implement just keeping user with you and communicating with them. And yeah, and based on user action inside the onboarding, inside the app, you can follow up with emails, follow up with push. All these things can be used refined just because the fact you don't leave the user alone. And about technical aspects, just before jumping to a benchmark, I would like to say a few words about technical aspects. That is something abuse, so I don't want to focus on that as much. Everyone that you need to fix crash, fix bugs, and so on. And as I mentioned about onboarding confusion, we had a large webinar a few weeks ago. Just follow up and check it out, and you will find a lot of good advice there about working with onboarding. Next, and what's healthy and what's red flag for you when you think about refund rate? That's the benchmarks and the things you need to consider. Okay, here we are, and 1%, or less than 1%. That is excellent, and that is sweet spot. That's quite rare, and if you have 1% refund rate or even less, that is phenomenal product market fit. Maybe you innovated something incredible and your customer just wow during the whole day when they use your app, or maybe you just small, and in case you just launch it and you just have a few $100 revenue, and maybe they are not so, that's not relevant for you. But anyway, enjoy that. That's clear value delivery, and you have strong, either you have strong product or strong onboarding or strong market fit. That's there is nothing to focus on in case you have 1% or less refund rate. And 1 and 3.53%, that's healthy and sustainable. And this range is very solid, and especially for growing apps. And it makes so in that case you have strong product, you have a clear stable unit economy, and so even across apps with hundreds K to million monthly revenue, we see this benchmark. So that is the milestone you need to try to achieve in case you want to build good and healthy product. And so if you in this range 1 and to 3.5, you can work on refund rates, or you just need to keep things work it as they're going right now. So your focus starting from the 3, or let's say even 4%, it's really better, from 4 to 8%. So from 4 to 8%, that's caution zone. There is where things get interested for us, and you need to pay attention on refund rates. There is not something dramatic right here, but we can surely say that you lose money. There is a revenue leak, and sure, you need to pay attention on refund rate and try to get fix and your onboarding, or make product more clear in terms of value you provide. Try to test your onboarding and product on different devices. Check your crash rates in case you use some Firebase or something else. Try to check it, and check your bags list from backlog you have, and try to find which one affects your customer journey and customer experience more. And maybe there is some pricing mismatch, and consider to launch a few A/B testing for pricing. Yes, it can take a lot of time to proceed the necessary amount of data, but anyway, try to do something. And again, that is not critical. It is still under control, but caution zone. Then from 8 to 15%, that is critical, and it is critical warning for you. You need to really start to think about that in more escalated way. And there is a few risk factors for you. In this stage, your app has major holes in the experience for customers. Refunds are actively damage your revenue. You are in the way to go to the next step, which more a danger for your business in general. So try to act quickly and actively on that stage and audit your onboarding. Maybe you can hire some outsourcing onboarding studios who can make something with that. Try to launch few cost devs with your customers. Try to reduce the price for products and double down on technical QA as on the previous stage. And the last step, that is danger zone above 15%, and user trust is seriously compromised for your app. So really there is a risk that Apple or Google may withhold payments for your app in general, block app updates. And there is some threshold for Apple when they start to ask questions, when they start to review your app slowly. And because for Apple, refunds, it's one of the most important benchmark. They want to earn more money from subscriptions, from services in general. And if there are someone who sell through the App Store apps which generate a lot of refunds, that's a lot of work for Apple. They easier to promote some apps which do not generate refunds in the same category. So, but beside that, they can just stop your app, block that, or even remove it from app. If there isn't something related with scam. So here is the thing about refund rates, and as I mentioned before, you can work with refunds and refund rates ongoing. Fixing your onboarding, fixing user journey, and making some improvement inside the app, doing customer journey more smoothly. But beside that, you can also integrate Qonversion Refund Keeper. I guess most of you also know about that, and I'll turn that. That's really a lot of apps turning that on, but I just want to underline a few words about that. And there is a few ways you can use Refund Keeper. You can just reject all refunds, you can approve all of them, or you can just say to let Apple to decide what to do. But anyway, if Qonversion say Apple, okay guys, approve all refunds, it doesn't mean that Apple will approve everything. Really, they will consider what to do based on data they have. So it's just some kind of suggestion to Apple. So a lot of customers guess that if we turn that on, Apple will approve all refunds for all customers and for all requests. No, not at all. And that is good for customers. But at least if you know that your app provides mature and strong, smoothly experience for end customer, and you can share more data with Apple to make more conscious decision about refunds. That's a good thing. If customer just refunded after using your app during a few weeks, That's quite strange. But if they just there's some kind of mistake and maybe child made this refunds, there is a lot of cases relating to this. So that's the good thing that Apple do that under hood on their end. So in general, it works in that way. And Apple requests conversion share a little bit more that with Apple, and then Apple decline or approve a refund based on data we provide. And once again, about the actions, what you can do here, it's fix onboarding and working on that ongoing. As I mentioned, most of the refunds made right after onboarding. Then track technical issues, your crash-free rates, crash, backlogs, etc. And try to analyze the whole onboarding, launching A/B testing for your price, and try to do not leave customer alone during the whole journey. Let's say during the first 5 days when they try your app and integrating, so use several channels to communicate with customers. It could be push notifications, emails, internal onboarding system, and so on. That's it. And Q&A session, if there is yeah, I see the question. It's actually, there are a few parts in this question. When we're talking about refund rates, does it go for the entire receipts or only new revenue versus refunds? Let's say the app is making 100K and has 5K refunds, but it's only 15K revenue from revenue events sub-started. It actually doesn't matter. In case if you make 100K for this month and you have 5K refunds, it is 5% refund rate. It doesn't matter in general. It can from trial converted, subscription started, or even from renew. And in some cases, what we see inside, in some cases, Apple make a refund for the whole revenue list. So let's say customer has 5 renews, and Apple can make 5 refunds for them. And in some cases, Apple make a refund just for the last renew from the receipt list. So generally, you just give your divide your refunds amount to the total revenue you have. Natalia, I just described how you can calculate that. If you have 5K refund, 5K refunds and 100K revenue, that's 5%. But that is not accurate. So right now we're working on new chart refund rates. I guess it should be available next week, maybe 5-7 days, and that will be accurately show your particular amount of refund rates right in conversion. The question about agreement and policies. In case you turn this on in your App Store configs, in your App Store settings, and you mentioned that in your privacy and terms of service, that should be enough. That's for Dennis. That's your question about user consent for data sharing. Yeah, that's the thing you described. You do not need to actively prompt that, and um, users actually accept that when they download the app, because Apple include this part inside the app requirements and inside the app page. And moreover, Apple requires you to have a terms and terms, so this should be enough. And you can just show the link to your terms on the payment on the paywall screen, and that's it. Yeah, as I mentioned regarding refund rates, to calculate that accurately, you need to know specifically which transaction refunded and what's the accumulated revenue and accumulated refund amount. So that's why we consider it to launch this chart. And right now the team is working on that, and I guess soon it should be available. There isn't more a question. I would be happy to finish here. Thanks all of you to joining, and it's really I'm really happy that there are people who care about refunds. I guess caring about refunds means you care about your customers, and not only from the perspective you want to save more money, but from the perspective you want to change user experience inside the app. Okay, thanks everyone.